Hey crochet friends, I'm Mo, your crochet companion, and this is Layer and Play, a beginner-friendly series where we stitch with intention, bend the rules just a little, and learn how to layer texture like pros in progress. Today we're diving headfirst into texture because nothing adds personality to a project like a dramatic puff, a bouncy bobble, or fabulous popcorn stitch. These are your bold dimensional besties, and we're going to have some fun with them. But we're not just learning them, we're playing with them, layering them, mixing them in wherever we feel like it. This is crochet freedom, not some rigid follow this to the letter pattern. It's yarn vibes and a little controlled chaos. Here's what's on the hook today. So we're going to learn how to crochet puff, bobble, and popcorn stitches without crying into your yarn. And for some of you, this is probably going to be a refresher course. The difference between them, yes, it matters. Don't mix them up. These are your drama queens. We don't want to mix them up. And how to freestyle them into a project row by row. And finally, how to stack them for extra flair. Think of it as adding a little crochet glam to your stitches. Before we get wild with our texture, let's talk about the base. We need a solid foundation row to build on. If you've never done a foundation row before, or if you're just sitting there staring at your yarn like, what in the yarn ball is a foundation half double crochet, pause this video, take a deep breath, and go check out my brand new foundation row masterclass. It covers all the major ones: single crochet, half double crochet, double, treble, and even double treble. It's your go-to guide for starting strong. I'll leave the link in the description below so you can head there, learn the ropes, and come back to get glam with me. To start off with, we're going to pick whatever foundation row that feels right to you. Single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. This is your stage. Make it wide enough to play with, and let's get rolling. So I'm actually going to do the half double crochet. I've been working on that storyline for a while now, and I've gotten used to crocheting with it in the background now. So and I believe I'm just gonna do, oh, I don't know. Let's just go ahead, just for practice, let's do 15 stitches, okay? And this is just practice. So once you actually decide what you want to do, or kind of sort of what you want to do, maybe you want to make a washcloth, or maybe you want to make a scarf, or maybe you want to go bigger and do an actual blanket. That's completely up to you. Once you do that, then you can just go to town. But for today, we're just going to do a little practicing just to get our feet in the water and then kind of go from there. So tell me about yourselves. You know, what got you started into crocheting? Did you see something that you liked and you're like, wait, this is what I want to do? I'll tell you my story. Oops, I almost hit my camera. So my grandmother crocheted, and I never learned from her, but I always admired what she could do with, you know, string and a hook. And when I was in my early 20s, I wanted to make those table runners. My grandma always had some that were cloth, and she would paint on them, and I wanted a crocheted table runner. So I was like, okay, let's do this. So I picked up a book that said Learn How to Fillet Crochet in a Day, and a book that had table runners on it. And that's how I got started. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Oh, I was close. Let's back it up just once. So that's how I got started. So tell me what your story is. What got you started on crocheting? And what kind of projects do you want to learn how to do? Okay, so let's go ahead and do a chain of 2, and we're going to turn our work. We're going to start with the puff stitch, okay? So this fun little puff stitch, it really kind of lays, both the puff and the bob will kind of lay it a little bit flatter, but if you do them right, you can get them so they are fancy. So let's start with the puff stitch, okay? You can mix things up too. So you can throw a puff here, bobble there, and a popcorn in the center like it owns a row. Anyway, the puff, it's soft and it's poofy. It's like baby yarn cloud that just wants to snuggle. Isn't that cute? All right, so to do a puff, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch that you want, yarn over, pull up a loop, and we're not going to do anything more than that. Then you're going to yarn over, insert your stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and leave those all on the loop. We're going to keep doing it until we get the puffiness that we want. So yarn over, insert a hook, yarn over, pull up, and then we're going to keep doing that until we get to the size that we want. So I like mine nice and fat, so I'm going to do one more. Look at that. Look at all that on my hook. So I am going to do one more yarn over, and I'm going to pull through every loop that is on my hook. Sometimes you get snagged and you have to start over, which I really don't like. For me, after I get done pulling through all those, I like to secure those puffs with a chain of 1. Now, puffs are a little bit fatter, so I always like to leave at least a stitch in between each puff. So I'm going to do that again in the next stitch. This is actually probably, I feel like it's one of the easier puffs to do, or easier ones to do out of all of them. I would say the popcorn's probably the most difficult. I need to give myself a little more extra yarn here. And I lost track of my count, so that's part of what we're doing here, is that we're just going with the flow. You know, if you want to have the same count for every single stitch, go ahead and count. And we're going to yarn over and pull through all of those. And then we're going to do that chain of 1 to secure at the top. There you go. All right, so let's do one more. You see how it's playing out there? I think I must have done more on that second one because it looks a little fatter. Maybe it had a little extra to eat. You know, it's bad when you think you're funny and you make yourself laugh. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm making myself laugh because I'm kind of silly. All right, so let's do one more. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through all of those. And then we're going to give it a chain at the top. There you go. All right, so the rest of the row, I'm just going to get wild and crazy and do the rest of it as a double crochet. And this is part of the joy of doing it the way you want to do it. And I'm sitting here undoing a knot in my yarn, if you're wondering. I got me a knot, so I had to do that. So we're going to do a double crochet for the rest, in each stitch for the rest of this row. Actually, yeah. Let's go ahead and add one right there. I probably should have done a chain 1 or even another stitch in between each one, but that's okay. We're just doing this as a practice. No worries about anything. This is your wild creation. Your controlled chaos, right? All right, let's go ahead and insert. And can't forget that last stitch that is that part of that chain, because otherwise your work will be wonky. All right, so now we're going to chain 2 and we're going to turn our work and we're going to work on the bobble. So the bobble is slightly different than a puff. So instead of, you know, with the puff, we yarned over, inserted our hook, yarn over, and pull up the loop. The difference between the two is that instead of just leaving it like that, we're going to pretend like we're going to almost do a full double crochet. So we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So now we have 2 loops on a hook. Okay, almost kind of like a half of a double crochet. Then we're going to do another half double crochet, half of a double crochet. Not a half double crochet, but a half of a double crochet. So we just keep doing that in the same stitch. We're going to yarn over, insert a hook, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we got 4 stitches on our loop, on our hook. Yarn over, same stitch. We're going to insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 5. Now, same thing with the puff, the bobble as is with the puff. The more you do, the fatter the bobble's going to be. So that's 6. I'm going to do 1 more. All right, so once you got all those on your hook and you got to the size that you want to do, now you're going to yarn over and pull through all those loops. Now, can you see the difference between the bobble and the puff? I actually like the puff more because it looks puffier. But if you do it, if you create enough of those bobbles together, it does make a nice fat texture. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert our hook into the next stitch. Now you can push that bobble to the front or to the back. You can push it this way or you can push the fatness that way, and I'm going to push it that way. So I just did a double crochet in between, and then I'm going to do another one. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, leaving 2 on our hook. We're going to do that again. We're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Now we got 3 on our hook. Yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 4. We're going to do that a couple more times. I think I had 7 on there before, so we're going to keep going until we get 7 strands on my hook. Alright, so now I got 7 strands on my hook, and I'm going to pull through all 7 strands. I'm going to push that to the back, and we're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch. Alright, next stitch, we're going to yarn over, insert our hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We're just going to keep doing that until we get those 7 strands again. Almost there. There's 5, 6, and 7. Now we're going to yarn over and pull through all 7 loops. And I'm going to finish the row with double crochets again. All right, let's back up. Oop, wrong way. Back up a little bit. And since I didn't put a stitch in between each of these or a single crochet, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up for it, and I'm going to do it in this return pass. I'm going to put a double crochet in between there so I can get the same count as I had before. Alright. Yep, I'm gonna do one in between here, one on top, and then we've got to put one right here in that last chain stitch. There you have it. Look at that. Now let's turn this over so you can see. Let's do a chain of 2 so you can see how that's working. So we're already kind of creating a little bit of a texture here. Texture and layer. So we got our bobbles over here, we got our puffs over here, and then this row we're going to do those popcorns. We're going to, and as you well know, as you can see, that bobble, it's bold and bouncy, a little flirtatious, not gonna lie. I think it's kind of cute, a little flirty. Whereas the popcorn stitch, it's thick, it's proud, the Beyonce of crochet textures. She kind of pops off. We're gonna stack the popcorn over the puff. Yes, we're gonna do it. Well, actually, we're stacking it over the double crochet. You can put it over the puff. You can put it over the bobble. It's completely up to you. This is your work. This is what you are doing. You're creating crochet glam right now. All right, let's get to it. The popcorn stitch. So we already chained 2, and we're going to go into that next stitch. And this one, we're actually going to complete the double crochet. So you'll want to do, let's do 5 in that same stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So as you can see, each one progresses on the other. So the puff, you're leaving those on, right? You're yarning over, inserting your hook, yarning over, pulling up, and leaving all of those on the hook. Whereas the bobble, we yarned over, inserted a hook, yarned over, pulled through 2, and then left those on the hook. Whereas the popcorn, we're leaving all of those on the hook. Now here's where the popcorn part comes in. This is probably one of my favorite things to do. Oh, I got snagged again. Hold on. Rascally little yarn. It's not cooperating with me today. All right, back to the business. So we have 5 on our hook. Now I'm not going to use this first chain to do anything with because we still want it to leave it like it's a lone wolf over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our hook out of that loop, and then I'm going to insert my hook into that first double crochet in that one space that you did, which would be this one right here. So there's 2 ways you can do it. You can insert from the front to the back, grab your yarn, and pull it through that stitch. Or let's do it the other way. You can go from the back to the front, grab that yarn, and pull it through to the back. So you see how that worked? Now it kind of cups it and puts it one direction or the other. So it depends on where you want that to land. So if you want all your bobbles on one side, then you go back and forth with the direction that you want. Now if you don't care whichever way they go, and me, I'm just going to put them on this side. So I'm going to go front to back, pull it through. Now I'm going to do a chain of 1 because I want at least 1 chain in between each popcorn. So now I'm going to skip a stitch and I'm going to go into the next one, and we're going to do 5 double crochets in that same stitch. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're going to do the same thing. Or let's say you want to have your bob or your popcorns going different directions. That would be kind of cool too. So let's do alternating popcorns. This is the part that's makes it fun and adventurous because you get to decide what you want to do. So then we're going to chain 1 and skip 1 and go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you don't always have to do 5. You can do 4, you can do 3, you can do 6, whatever number that you want. So I gotta show this to you all. This is what I have been fighting. I just pulled this ginormous knot out of my ball, my skein of yarn. So this is what I've been fighting off camera. Isn't that fun? We call this yarn barf. So we're going to be fighting this for just a minute here. Okay, let's continue on where we were. You guys got to learn a new term, yarn barf. Okay, so we went back to front on the last one, so we're going to go front to back on this one. Grab that and hook it in. Oops, looks like I tried to split my yarn on top of everything. Well, isn't this just a fun day? We're playing with our yarn. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and do another 5 double crochets. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we're going to go from the back to the front. And we're going to chain 1 and skip 1, and we're going to do a popcorn over a bobble. Isn't that going to be fun? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we went from front to back, and we're going to go, whoops, yeah, we did back to front, so now we're going to do front to back. There we go, chain of 1, skip 1, and I do believe we are going into the next bobble. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so we're going to take that out. Let's see, we went front to back. Now we're going to do back to front. Grab that, pull it through, chain 1, skip 1, and we're going to go into that last bobble. 5 DCs in that last bobble. Oops, didn't yarn over apparently. 3, 4, and 5. And we are going front to back this time. All right, we're going to chain of 1. Actually, no, we're not going to do a chain of 1. We're going to just leave it the way it is, and then we're going to do a double crochet in that last stitch. Well, maybe. I don't know what's going on with this. It's being a brat. It's being a yarn diva. How about that? That's what we're calling it. A yarn diva. So there you go. Let's look at that, the way it textured. So we got what looks like an alternating row, and sometimes people use the popcorns to make it look like you got flowers too. Like if you did a different color or something like that, makes it look like a different color. All right, so do we want a breather from the popcorns? So if you do, all you need to do is pick a different stitch to do for the entire row. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a chain of 2, and then we're going to do half double crochets in each stitch across. Oh, maybe. All right, there we go. I don't know, for some reason my rhythm was a little off on that. There we go. Actually, let's grab an extra stitch right here. There we go. into each one all the way across. Yeah. And remember, you got to grab those chain ones as well. Ugh, here I am fighting the knot again. All right. If your yarn whispers to you, more puffs, please, you listen. That's respect, right? And let's say it whispers to you, a whole row of popcorns. Look, I'm not here to stop you. I'm here to hype you. This isn't about perfection. It's about play. You're not following a map. You're following your yarny instincts. If the yarn speaks to you, that's what you gotta do, right? Oh, well, it looks like I made that way too tight. So let's just try to shove it in there somehow. Okay. Maybe. Oh my goodness. This is the reason why you don't want to make your stitches too tight, because then you can't get in there. You guys get to see firsthand what it's like to try to... got it. Get that fat hook in there. Okay, so there you have it. Look at that. Let's go on the other side, because I like the texture on the other side. But let's say you do. I mean, you can create a design. Like my friend, she creates hearts and crosses in her blankets. That's like her signature thing. And you can do that with either the puffs, the bobbles, or the popcorn. I think she uses the bobbles. She likes those the best. I am a popcorn person. I love the extra texture that the popcorns give you. This one's trying to play hide and go seek, but as you can see, you can do them either way. But let's say you want to do another row of popcorns. Hey, like I said, who am I to stop you? This is your project, your story. And that's it for our first texture adventure. You've got puff, bobble, and popcorn stitches in your toolkit now. And you've learned how to sprinkle, stack, and freestyle them like a crochet genius you are. Next week we're getting stripy, so we're gonna do thick ones, skinny ones, textured ones, color chaining, chaos. The layering gets deeper and the fun gets bolder. I'm telling you, this scarf swatch, whatever you call it, it's going to be, is a vibe. If this episode brought a smile to your face or made your yarn hand twitch with excitement, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next layer of crochet goodness. Until next time, stay playful, stay bold, and happy crocheting.